The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to The Secrets of Technology. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. And joining me today on the panel are Joanne Mercier. Hello, Joanne.
Hello, everyone.
And Father Cory Sticha. Hi, Father Cory.
How's it going?
Very well, thanks. So today I want to start off with a little bit of just almost follow-up, but a little bit of just I did what I said you shouldn't do, which is I installed the iPad OS 14 public beta on my iPad, which...
Wah, wah.
And it didn't immediately melt into a slab of plastic?
It did not. No. And in fact, it's a little underwhelming at the moment because the iPad OS upgrade was perhaps the smallest of the upgrades. It had the fewest new features. I mean, there's stuff in there, definitely, but it's the least noticeable features. So it doesn't have the same sort of widgets that the iPhone gets, which is the widgets you can put anywhere. It's got the widgets that you can put on the left side in the Today view. You know, on the iPad you can put on the left side, and it's got the Smart Stack and the various things like that, which is fine. But the only widgets available now are the Apple widgets. The third-party widgets aren't available yet, so I don't use Apple's apps for very much. I use third-party apps for most stuff. So has not been that big a deal for me yet. Some of the home automation stuff and the HomeKit stuff some of it's there, some of it's not quite there yet. They're still rolling it out. In the same thing with Shortcuts. I was all excited because Shortcuts got some new triggers, including on-app close, which I will someday when that's available explain why that's important to me in one of my future picks. But I'm like, on-app close as a trigger, yay! And it's not there yet. So there's stuff that's not there yet. What is there is Scribble, which is really cool. So Scribble is this new way where you can use the Apple Pencil to navigate, to do things. So instead of using the keyboard, so anywhere where you could use the keyboard, you can now just handwrite. And the handwriting recognition. Let me just say, this is no Newton message pad. This is good.
Okay, good.
I mean, it recognizes my handwriting, although I'm going to have to modify because my handwriting is, ever since I was a kid, has always been a sort of modified caps, all caps, bigger or smaller. If it's a smaller capital A, it's lower cap. I had terrible handwriting as a kid, and this was my way of dealing with that. But it interprets it all as me shouting all the time. So I'm going to have to relearn to write with actual lowercase letters on the iPad. But it works really well. You can write in Safari. You can write right on the address bar of where you want to go. You can write in notes, and you can select it and move it. You can copy it. So like I can handwrite a note and come back and then select it, and it pops up and says copy as text, and I can copy that as copy and pastable text. I mean, it's really cool. So that's been cool so far. I waited to the public beta for the iPad. I'm not putting it on my phone. I just maybe in a later beta, not the first public beta. I can't risk the phone. Certainly not putting it on my computer because there may not be any podcasts after that point. There's just the stuff that the computer that I run for the daily work is too susceptible to being disrupted by upgrades. So, and I wouldn't put it on tvOS or a watch because those are very hard to undo the beta.
Right.
So that's I don't want to risk that. So iPad OS is it for now.
I will say I'm surprised with the widgets choice that they aren't allowing the widgets because I'm a avowed Android fan, but I use an iPad, and I have an iPad I use all the time, and I have absolutely no use for the widgets on the iPad because it's hidden. It's not something you just glance at. That's the nice thing about widgets on Android.
No, you can have the widgets on the left side. There's a setting even in iPad OS 13.
You're not talking about swiping to the left to get to the widgets, but actually you pull up the iPad in the main screen and the widgets go on there.
So I'm going to hold up my iPad.
Okay. No, that makes a little more sense, because I was just my thing I was talking about was the nice thing on Android is I've got a couple of widgets where it's my calendar.
Yep.
It's a couple of my the weather widget, and I can just glance at the phone. I don't have to swipe. I don't have to move. It's just right there.
Right.
And that's the one thing I hated about when they added widgets to iOS, iPadOS, iPhoneOS, is you couldn't do that. You still had to do the swipe to the right or swipe up or whatever it was.
Right.
And it didn't work the same way. So I'm glad to see at least, I know on the iPhone it's supposed to work more like Android, where you could put it kind of anywhere on the phone.
That's right.
Yeah, but on iPad though, actually the way they do that now that I see it, that actually makes a lot more sense. Because it's there, it's visible, but it's out of the way.
Yeah. I still the iPad is usually, for most iPads, it's enough screen real estate. Like, I don't need the 50 different icons on the screen. I wouldn't mind getting some more of that icon space and using it for a widget here or there, because the widget space that they give you is somewhat limited, and they reserve like the on-screen bit to to their built-in widgets, and then you can scroll up to get to your other widgets. But I don't know. I just wish I wish they gave us as many options as they give us on the phone, or they will be giving us on the phone.
Something like Android, where you can put the widget wherever you want on that screen. You can put it on different windows or different screens. You can all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to being able to do that on my phone, because I like that idea.
Well, you probably just convinced me not to put any beta on until later, till I can play with it. Well, I was thinking of it, but now the only one I think I'd be interested in right now is the phone. Yeah. Because I'd want to see those widgets in action on the phone. On the iPad, I'm interested in Scribble, though. That sounds really interesting. So that might go on the smaller iPad when I'm done using it for live streaming.
Right.
I don't want to screw anything up at this moment.
Yeah. Now, if that Scribble had a Palm OS graffiti mode where you could do the old graffiti letters, I was a master at those bad boys way back when.
Same here, graffiti. Yes, I could go fast on that. Faster than regular writing, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I would wait I would wait till beta. Like this was public beta 2. I would wait till at least public beta 3, but probably till end of August, early September. That's because not only is it when the operating system itself will be in better shape, but the third-party apps will have rolled out some updates. The developers will have had time to fix things and get things into the less broken state things are in now. So I would hold off on that. It's tempting. It's very tempting. I did it last year and got away with it. I'm not tempting fate this year by putting it on my phone.
It's always a surprise when you go to open up that one app you need right now, and it's like, oops, it isn't working on the beta.
Yes. So that's where I am with the iPad beta. All right, so let's talk about our main topic today, which is one of the things that's happened, this changed in the world in the past 6 months, is the online grocery shopping has become not just an oddity or a little extra. It has become a lifeline for many people. It's become for many people who do not want to leave their home in the lockdown situation. It's become the way that they get their groceries. And so we wanted to talk about some of the online grocery options that are out there, and and the different pros and cons, and some of the ideas. And I know, Joanne, you've been using online grocery shopping for most of this time. What have you used? What is the service and the style that you're using? Because they come in different types as well.
Yeah, they do. What I've been using up to maybe the last month has been Peapod. Peapod is a subsidiary of a Stop and Shop corporation, which is a subsidiary of a few other things. But around here in New England, it's Stop and Shop. And Peapod basically goes to, you put your order online, you pick your day and time that you want it delivered, and then it'll ask you, do you want substitutions in case we can't find things? And I hate to tell you, half the time they can't, just because of the way shipping is going on now. And then it comes to your house. They're very contactless. They bring it up to the door, they ring your doorbell, and they go back in the truck. It's been, depending on the month, either great or less than satisfying. Yeah. And I think it all depends on what they have in their distribution house. Yep. It's not like they're going to your local Stop and Shop and picking out your groceries.
That's a big difference. That's a big thing to remember. Yeah.
Right, which is also better for someone like me who can't get certain things at her Stop and Shop that she can get at others. That's a whole other story. Yep. So I don't mind going through the distribution. That's the only thing that's been a huge bit of a problem. Things that are cold come cold. Things that you ask for substitutes, they will always substitute, of course, with their house brand.
Right.
Because that's good business. But I was getting to the point where I would say no substitution, because I would prefer to have certain items that are still, familiar to my family. And we were getting like half an order.
Right.
Because they just can't, depends on the day they could do it. Now, way in the beginning of all this, when I got turned on to it, we were waiting a week to 10 days before we could get a delivery.
Right. They were so slammed.
That's how backed up they were. Now it's a little bit better, but and I'm sure if we go into quarantine again, it'll happen again. That seems to be the issue. They don't have enough drivers. They don't have enough people to do this. That's why a lot of my friends moved over to a system called Instacart,
right?
Which will go to different places, and that's a one-person shopper. That's you get a shopper, and that shopper will work with you. They'll talk with you on text and say, I found this, I can't find this, would you like this as a substitution? They'll keep in touch with you as they're shopping, depending on where they're going. I used Instacart for CVS way in the beginning.
Right.
And it was very, it was very easy. Each one of them will always ask you, do you want to tip your driver? You can tip them whatever you'd like, because they don't want you handing them money.
Right.
But Instacart will go into places also that will have their own too. So they don't go to Stop and Shop, but they will go to a place called BJ's. Right. Warehouses.
Which is like Costco and
which is like a Costco.
Or a Sam's Club, yeah.
Right. But with BJ's, I found with BJ's, they have a delivery of their own, but they're not reliable as reliable as Peapod. But if you have them shop for you, which you can have them do, you send them their order, they'll shop it, you get there, out comes your cart.
Curbside
pickup.
In it. Yeah.
No, It's not just curbside. It's got everything in it. You have to bring it to your car. They don't bring it to your car.
Okay.
There's a difference I found in curbside pickup. This is just in-store pickup.
Okay.
Curbside comes to your car.
Right. I've done that.
And yeah, that's a little bit different. I think Walmart does that.
And Stop and Shop does it too. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do a curbside as well.
It's funny with Walmart is they started doing curbside before we even, heard the word COVID. They had, because I remember last summer they were advertising it. They just started as kind of a new thing. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is something people actually are going to need.
Right. I did curbside years ago, like 3-4 years ago now, when Stop and Shop was doing it. When I'd be on my way home from work, my wife would call in the order and I would stop there on the way home and it would be ready and waiting. They have these outside refrigerated cases that are locked, and an employee would come over, grab them, and put them in the car. I always felt weird because it would be like this teenage girl loading my car with all these bags, and I'm just sitting there going, I feel kind of awkward, like I should get out and help her. But
I understand that.
We've tried Peapod delivery before, and one of the things that we ran into a couple of things. One is you get a window. We'll be there between this time and this time. That's like any delivery service. And that sometimes is a pretty broad window that they give you. So you have to be kind of ready at any time. The other thing is those substitutions. When you're shopping for like ham and you want, I don't know, like a Virginia honey baked ham or whatever, and they'll substitute like, I don't know, a Spanish ham or something like technically it's still ham, but it's not the same thing. And you often do have to deal with that. Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I would go with no substitutions.
Right.
Because I found after 2 different deliveries, I was like, I don't like your definition of substitution. Any of these services, you have to And it takes you a little bit. Realize that you're not going to get always what you want.
Right.
So you have to, when you shop it, you have to know, do I need this now or can I wait?
Yeah.
Because if it's something you can't wait, then you have to say, okay, I need the substitution. I had that with flour in the beginning. I was trying to get flour, and it was like, no, there's no all-purpose, there's no bread flour, there's no wheat flour. Oh, gluten-free, they're going to substitute that. Okay, does that cook the same way? I don't know.
It's not the same thing.
Does that bake the same way? I'm not sure.
Nope.
So,
And that brings up a question I have now. I've lived in areas that don't have this, although the town I was living in, Malta, if I needed to, I probably could have called the Albertson store, our grocery store chain, and said, "Hey, can you have someone bring this over?" And they would, because I know they would do that. They would do that for a small town, so they would do that for elderly, homebound, things like that. So, but no official going onto the Albertsons app, even though they advertised it, but no going onto the Albertsons app and doing all that. But the question I would have is like the example of the flour. Gluten-free flour is generally a lot more expensive per pound than
regular
all-purpose flour.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times when I shop, there might be, it would be nice to get this, but only if it's on sale, or if, they have the store brand and it's under, say, $3, but if it's over $3, then I'm really not that interested right now. Is there a way to kind of specify things like that? Because I could see if you're worried about money issues, that could actually hurt you.
Yeah, it could. And I learned something with Peapod too. They will honor sales if you've left it in your cart over their sale time. So what I would do, especially in the beginning when it was a week to 10 days for delivery, I would put things in the cart right away and keep them there. And as it was going on, the price would not change. Once it's in the cart, the price stayed there.
Yeah.
So that's a boon. Now, if you take it out of the cart and put it back in, well, now you get the higher price if it's off sale.
I'm pretty sure most of them will. With a substitution, they will honor the price of the product you wanted. So if they give you a more expensive item, I think they still give it to you for the lesser.
Because again, like the example of flour or even ham, where if they substitute something that is significantly more expensive, that could hurt if they charge you the price of what it could be or what the difference would be.
I mean, they could put prosciutto in my cart instead of Virginia baked ham, and I'll take it for the same price.
You'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay with that.
No complaints.
And this, I want to specify, this is usually the in-house delivery services. Instacart, they don't get a say in the pricing. Like they are whatever's charged. And one of the things we've tried Instacart as well, and one of the things we found and friends have said is that sometimes the Instacart shoppers don't understand the products that you're shopping for, and they'll put something in the cart that is definitely not what you asked for. And like, why do you think this is that? I can't think of an example off the top of my head. Or something like, I remember someone got a banana. Like they wanted a bunch of bananas and they got a banana. That sort of misunderstanding is possible.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Instacart kind of like an Uber type thing where it's just individuals signing on? Yeah, that explains it.
Yeah, it's gig economy. Yeah.
Right. And I did not have that problem with my Instacart person, and my friends have not had that problem. In fact, they've been very happy with the fact that they'll text them, that they'll, send them a picture and say, is this okay? So I guess maybe they've learned through the COVID experience that the more they make people happy, A, they get repeat business, and B, they get a bigger tip.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure people reflected their, displeasure in the tip amount.
Right. Now, Joanne, you mentioned CVS and using Instacart for CVS. Well, one of the nice things that's happened is CVS. I'm not sure if Walmart has done this, but CVS, they've had a delivery service before. It cost extra, like because if you're elderly and you can't get down to CVS all the time to refill all your 100 prescriptions, like my family seems to have like 100 prescriptions that we have, and if getting down there during the coronavirus, that people don't want to sick people go to pharmacies. I don't want to
Right.
go,
Yeah, exactly.
So they made that free, and it's still free right now, a delivery service. So you get things in generally 1 to 2 days. So that's really nice. And I use the app all the time to reorder prescriptions and refill. You can also add stuff, anything that they sell in the store, like cough drops or any of the regular products that they have that can be shipped. As opposed to like grocery stores, like you can't really put like milk in it because they can't ship it to you. But anything that can be shipped, you can add in like Band-Aids or whatever, and it's all free. There's no additional cost. They've made it free for now. So who knows how long that'll go on for? But I've found that to be very useful. I have one medication that has to be refrigerated, so I still have to go in for that when that's refilled. But all the other stuff that our family has, it's just send it, and it's really convenient. I kind of hope that doesn't go away.
No, it would be nice if it stuck around. I have a thing. Well, let's put it this way. I think it's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah. One of the other it's a little bit different, but we are big. My family, we're big into farmers markets. We love our local farmers market. We've gone there for years, every summer, every Saturday. And this whole thing has kind of thrown it for a loop. And they've come up with a solution, which is a drive-through market. So they have all the vendors have websites now that are linked from the farmers market website. And every like Tuesday or Wednesday, you go online and you order your market goods, your farmers market goods, whatever they're going to have that week. And then you when you come to the market, you stop at each market tent in your car, and they'll bring stuff to your car. They'll even put it in the back for you, so you don't have to interact with them. You pay online. There's no exchange of money at the market, so it's all prepay, pre-order. You can't just walk up. So that's a downside. And frankly, part of the thing that we love about the market isn't just the fresh food, but the interaction with people, the social aspect, and that's kind of missing now. But this is better than nothing. And it's interesting to see that each vendor has to set up their own sales webpage. But there is one service that a lot of them use, and I don't know if it's local or not. I'm just looking for what it's called again. I have it here, food4all.com, food, the number 4all.com. And a lot of the different vendors use that. But some have set up their own Square sites. Some even use Venmo. Some use a Google form and then send you an invoice afterward, that sort of thing. So that's all. If you're used to going to a farmer's market, check and see if they've been doing something like that. So one of the big 10,000-pound gorilla in this online grocery shopping space is the same 10,000-pound gorilla that's in everything else online, which is Amazon, who apparently has 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 different online grocery services that are very much alike and seem to overlap a lot. And so let's talk about them. Excuse me. We obviously know that Amazon bought Whole Foods a few years ago, and they you can now go on the regular Amazon site and order Whole Foods goods. Stuff from Whole Foods that can either be picked up at the store or you can choose a delivery time, just like Peapod does. They also have something called Amazon Fresh and something else called Amazon Prime Now. They all, Fresh and Prime Now are delivery services for groceries, and they're kind of the same thing. Fresh, I think, it's limited in where they are available now. It's mostly, I think, the Pacific Northwest. But that's the thing. It's most like Peapod and some of these other in-store grocery services. They have a van, refrigerated. They put all your groceries in it. It's got all the fruits and vegetables and all the other meats and stuff and all the other packaged goods, and they bring it to your house. Prime Now, you can also get all of those same things. You get fruits and vegetables, packaged goods, meats, and that sort of thing. But it's delivered from your local Whole Foods, which is what the other service does. Which is to say, if you're a Prime member, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get all this stuff for free, like no additional cost, with free delivery and free pickup. Although I think Prime Now, the big difference is they'll deliver within a week. Like today, they do they'll deliver you a certain amount of stuff within a couple hours, and it's a limited list of things. Whereas the regular Whole Foods delivery, that's whatever they have available, and that's you have to choose a time, which is usually not today, but within at the optimum, it's within a day or two. In the midst of all of this craziness, it's been as long as a couple weeks, like you've been saying, Joanne. So my guess is at some point, these are all going to merge. Like, I can't imagine that these three separate. This is typical big corporation stuff where they've bought things, started things, and you have these three different corporate divisions all doing the same thing in being inefficient about it.
Well, and looking at the article here about the difference between Amazon Fresh and Prime Now, I'm thinking, the third one you've got, the Fresh, the Prime Now, and then the Whole Foods via Amazon. I'm thinking Prime Now is what Whole Foods via Amazon is becoming.
Yeah.
They're eventually just going to get rid of that third option altogether. Because you look at what Prime Now does, it's basically they will go to Whole Foods and grab what you want and deliver it within an hour, or you can do pickup in some places.
Right.
There. So I think that it looks like they're moving to that. That looks like that would be really nice to have. Unfortunately, I don't have a Whole Food. There's no Whole Foods in Montana. Come on, Amazon, get on it.
The closest Whole Foods to where I live right now is in Bellingham, Massachusetts. So, I'm in Rhode Island. So that's not a good pickup for me. Amazon, as far as I'm concerned, I use Amazon for I use it for my Benefiber. I use it for soap that I can't get anywhere else. I use it for cleaner that I can't, and and I use their subscription service.
Yes.
So it shows up every so often.
That might actually be a fourth grocery service, if you think about it. Yeah.
I was doing that before COVID, though.
Right, same
That
here.
was something I was doing because they had cheaper. Now, however, during COVID, they've held up my Benefiber for 2 months because they don't have it.
Yes.
And they're like, would you like a substitute? No.
Right. We actually do subscribe and save, and we do like paper towels and some canned goods, things that we get in bulk, because that's generally what subscribe and save is bulk. I do like coffee pods and stuff like that, and shampoo and toothpaste, and stuff that you need on a regular basis. That you have an idea of how fast you consume it. That sort of thing.
Right.
And so that has worked out, but yeah, it's been weird. Subscribe and save has been weird during the last 4 or 5 months because of it. We've I ordered peanut butter and it's been held up. Like the Teddy peanut butter has been held up for some reason. And they don't tell you why, they don't tell you when. And it doesn't help much Amazon.
And I know it's because of the issues they had with the virus in their warehouses.
Yeah.
But they've gotten really weird about shipping things out. Like, Amazon Prime, its whole pitch was you will get it in 2 days. It's not it'll take 2 days shipping. It's you will have it in your hands in 2 days or less.
Right.
And
that
now
was the shtick.
You'll get 2 days when we finally decide to ship it in a week.
Yeah.
Right.
So they've gotten really weird about it. And I know that's because of the issues in their warehouse and everything, but it's still frustrating where I order something. It's like, okay, it'll be here Thursday, right? Or like order today, this Wednesday. Oh, it'll be here Friday, right? Oh, no, actually, we're not going to ship it until next Monday, so you won't get it until next week.
Right. Yeah. Frank, we pay $130 a year for Prime. That's the stick. And with that you get free shipping, and you're going to get it with a couple of days. Yeah, and you get like Amazon Prime Video and some other stuff like that. But frankly, I wouldn't pay $130 for Prime Video. That's just I consider that a bonus.
That's added benefit.
Right. And I'm looking right now at my subscribe and save, and both of them are telling me it's temporarily unavailable, and they're supposed to be delivered July 30th.
Yeah. In fact, I just experienced where my delivery date is July 12th, and everything on this month's subscribe and save, I got an email saying technical error or delivery delay, and then it all came. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what that means, but I'm happy to have it. But they're all struggling to get. To get, they're under everything is straining under the increased load. And one of the things that I look at this, I say, this is the future of where we're going. I mean, a lot of things are changing because of this. We're going to a cashless society. in things like digital wallets, like Apple Pay, but also like online grocery. This is the future. One of the other things we're talking about here in Massachusetts, I know other places have had it, is alcohol delivery. Like you can order alcohol and get cocktails delivered to your house from your local bar and restaurant. That's actually not legal yet, but there's a bill before the legislature to do that. And I'm like,
I think
what a world.
Texas actually did. Actually, it was one of the states that actually did, where you can call your local bottle shop and they will deliver.
Yeah, well, you can actually get delivery liquor now in Massachusetts, but this is delivery cocktails, like mixed drinks from the local bar.
I'll take a 6-pack of gin and tonics, thanks.
Exactly. Yeah, there's an app called Drizzly, which is a national service that lets you order alcohol. But I looked at it, and it was much more expensive than the local place. We have a local place that's not too far from me that will actually deliver, and they charge you the list price on the same thing they charge you in the store plus a small delivery fee, whereas Drizzly has a markup, and it's not an insubstantial markup. So that's not my bag on that. But so the last thing I wanted to talk about in this area of online grocery shopping, now that we've veered into cocktails as grocery shopping. That's a very broad definition. But let's talk like meal in a kit services. Now, these obviously have been around a long time, the HelloFresh and Blue Apron and stuff. And I asked you both beforehand, and neither of you have had experience with these.
Right.
But I've tried both of them. I got free trials of each of them. And just a couple things to say about them. First is these are not for families. Like they're somewhat expensive, and it's enough for 2 people to have a moderate portion, not a large portion. But if you are one person, it's basically you could have lunch, like you could have a dinner and then a lunch leftovers. If it's 2 people, it's a moderate dinner. It's probably the actual correct proportions that you're supposed to have nowadays. But the quality is pretty good. I mean, if you're not like an accomplished cook at all, they give you all the ingredients. They even prepare some of them like chopped up, but they give you the correct amount of each thing. They have clear instructions to cook it, so that's good for people who don't do a lot of cooking. But if you're a family where the mom and dad eat a different meal from the kids, like you make something, mac and cheese for the kids, and mom and dad have something nicer, that this could work for you. But it's somewhat expensive for over the just by making stuff from scratch, but maybe cheaper than ordering delivery from your local restaurant. So and fresher because it's cooked right there on your stove. So that's all I really have to say about that one.
And I would say it would be healthier too than buying the meal in a box from the grocery the frozen section meal in a box.
Oh yes.
Also known as Hungry Man.
Yes. Man, as a kid, I wanted to have Hungry Man dinners every night. That was like the best, especially when you had that little apple pie thing that was like that's the dessert. I mean, it's terrible, but man, as a kid, I thought that was the greatest thing ever.
As a kid, it was the best thing in the world.
I would like to know how these meal in a kit services are doing during this COVID. And I'd also like to know how Omaha Steaks is making out.
Yeah.
Because they were some of the original delivery for people for steaks, for gifts, especially around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
The problem with Omaha is they're much more expensive than buying the same exact steak at the grocery store. It's good food. It's good steaks.
For what you get, yeah, it is expensive. You can actually buy them on Amazon, which is kind of funny.
Oh, gee. But when you can't get out, that's what I'm saying. If you can't get to your local butcher or the butcher is closed because of all this, I wonder how they're doing as far as, are they experiencing the same thing as far as not getting deliveries to people or running out of stuff, or I'd be curious.
Yeah, I'm just quickly scanning like news articles about Omaha Steaks, and all I'm seeing is people saying they're a good choice for right now for meat delivery.
Well, they were pretty much set up for mass distribution. So
yeah, and they're probably, given the size of the company, they probably have their own dedicated ranches that they get their meat from, and like their own distribution system, just like McDonald's and Burger King and that sort of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to get more stuff than your grocery store, because that's been an issue for us.
Yeah, just the feedlots and all that stuff, I'm sure, or if they don't own them, they've got long-term contracts with them.
Exactly. That's an interesting point though. These different food delivery services. This and there are others out there. I remember Swans. They do mostly packaged, frozen stuff.
We have Swans around here, and they're doing really good business right now too.
Yeah. So. Anything where you don't have to go to the grocery store. Now, that's one of the things that is local here. My wife has actually been going to the grocery store all along, just because we have particular situations of allergies and stuff. It didn't make sense to try to do it with Peapod, and especially given that we go through a gallon of milk every 2 days. We can't wait a week and a half for groceries. So she's been going, but we've been dealing with grocery stores have had limited capacity, that as in state mandated,
right? Only
so many people, and that's just been lifted in Massachusetts, so that's nice. But it's wear a mask the whole time and the whole thing. So it's
I still feel icky going into stores. I was in one yesterday, and the guy is standing near the deli counter, mask off, talking on his phone, waiting for his deli order. I'm like, get me out of here.
Your voice will carry through the mask, right?
Yeah, really.
So, all right. So that's what we had to say about online grocery shopping. Our point of view about that version. If you have questions, if you have anything to add to that conversation, and any perspective or any grocery services that we missed, or might be even just regional or local to you, we'd love to hear about it. You can email us at technology@sqpn.com, and we'll have our other contact information at the end of the show. So let's move on to talk about some headlines. Now, I saved this headline from a couple of weeks ago for this very episode because I knew I would have Joanne on to talk about it. Our first headline: YouTubeTV has hiked the price to $65 a month. Now, keep in mind, in 2018, just 2 years ago, it was $35. They hiked it in 2018 to $40, and now it's up to $65. And what they say is, well, we've been adding channels. We just added 14 channels in May. We've got 89 channels. But doesn't that really go back to the problem we had with the cable networks, like Comcast and Verizon and those guys, which is we don't want the bundle. We want to pay less for less. So
no, well, we want bundles, but we want bundles with the choice.
Yes,
because I'm looking at this list. It's all Viacom CBS. So these are all channels that came into CBS with the Viacom CBS merger, and it's things like Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, Paramount Network, BET, CMT, TV Land, VH1. You know what's a common denominator of those channels? I didn't watch any of them when they were on when I had cable, and I'm not going to watch them now.
Right?
Why do I have to pay $15 a month more for them?
Right. Exactly.
Well, I'm sure you can hear me grinding my teeth all the way through the internet here. You're right about those channels. I mean, we will admit here in my household that we will watch MTV because we want to see I Love the 80s. And that's fine because it's all videos that we're newly married and watching, on cable.
Back when MTV was actually music television?
Yeah, actually when it was music television and not, Pimp My Crib or something. So, but no, this really, when I got that email, I looked at my husband and I said, it's cable all over again. Give me more, but I don't want more. I just give me the History Channel instead of me having to go to Philo and get the History Channel, separately for $20 more. I said, this is ridiculous.
Right.
I know what they're trying. They sent and I don't know if you got this, Father Cory. They sent like a questionnaire, a survey about a month or two back, and they said pick different things you'd like to. Here's a bunch of different channels we're thinking of bringing on board. What would be your preference? So I went through it dutifully and said, that wouldn't be bad. It would be nice to have this. And I know I picked quite a few that already reside in Philo because I figured I'll get rid of Philo. If you can bring me the History Channel and bring me Paramount, which they did. Paramount came. Yep. But the History Channel did not. So, but to jump it up from, yes, it was $35 when they first came out. It was $49.99 when I got into it. And that was their second hike. Now it's $64. I don't want to see them hike it anymore because they hike it anymore. I'm going to go to Fubo. I mean, I don't know what else to do at this point. I was trying to get out of paying the exorbitant amounts of money for a lot of channels I don't watch again.
Well, every time so I'm still on cable. I have Verizon, and every time I look at, okay, should I jump ship and just go internet only on my Verizon, so which is still like 60 something bucks a month, and I look at all the other options, and I keep saying, well, I'm not saving anything. I'm spending the same and in some cases getting less than I'm getting now.
We have reached the threshold now where we're paying, I think, $10 less than we were on cable. But it's only because we also raised our internet speed, because both of us were working at home. So we went to 400 gigabytes, whatever, up and down.
Yep.
And so we did that, and then this hit, the rate hike. So it was like, okay, so what do we get rid of? Hulu, Netflix, what am I getting rid of? Yeah. I went to get rid of CBS All Access. But then my husband said, where's Blue Bloods?
Oh.
And we used to be on Prime, and it's not anymore, because I think CBS has taken back almost all of their programming.
They're starting to do that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So he's like, no, you're not getting rid of Access. I'm like, okay, good. I can finish watching Picard. But no, I mean, what they're going to do, and I'm afraid that Google's going to do this, is they're going to start being in the same ballpark as cable. And people are going to leave it, even though they've got a really good interface. They do have a good selection of channels. But, okay, I can pay less, or I can go somewhere else and bundle more and try to make something out, some kind of salad out of Sling TV.
Right.
You know, I mean, I just don't want to do that much work. They still have the local channels, which I don't want to relegate to an antenna, because that can be spotty.
I would pay $40, $45 a month to someone who gave me local channels and let me pick the 25 channels I want.
I'm with you on that.
I'm
absolutely with you on that.
I would be cash on the barrelhead. Here you go.
And it's and the only reason why they're doing this pay increase is because CBS Viacom came to them and said, we'll give you our channels. It's going to cost you $15 a subscriber.
Right.
I guarantee you can have the package of all our channels, because these are all the Viacom channels.
Yeah, a bucket channel.
And all the CBS channels, other than locals. And they said, but it's going to cost you $15 a subscriber. Well, of course, YouTube's not going to eat that.
Yeah,
right.
Or even a significant portion of that. They're going to pass that on.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like History Channel. Well, there's no A&E channel. Well, that's where History Channel is with. You know, and it's and these cable companies. Well, I say cable because these broadcast corporations like Viacom, like A&E, like Discovery, they're missing the whole point of people cutting the cable. We like your stuff. We like what you make, but we don't want to buy your whole package of stuff.
Right.
Because I might watch XYZ channel that you own, but I'm not going to watch ABC channel. And I don't mean ABC in particular, you know, DEF channel.
Yes.
That you also own. But why should I pay for both?
Right. Yeah, they think that they can fit what their objective is to go to all of the cable cutters organizations, the cable cutting companies like YouTube and Sling and Fubo, and basically turning them into the same as Comcast and the cable providers, because that way they're taking away consumer choice, and we're captive to their product once again. That's the
really problem they're going to run to is people like me that are going to say, you know what, fine. As soon as I got that email from YouTube TV saying we're upping our rates, disconnect.
Right.
But they mentioned that in their letter too. We know we are going to lose people. And I'm just sitting there going, I wonder how many you're going to lose, and when it's not going to be profitable for you to lose more.
Right.
You know, what's the story here? Because again, I showed my husband, I said, look, I froze the screen. I said, look how many channels Discovery owns.
Oh, yeah.
And it's quite a few.
Oh,
and
more than you think.
You don't realize they're all Discovery channels.
It's a handful of players that own most of the TV channels out there, and that's the power they hold over these providers like YouTube and you know, Comcast and Verizon. They say if you want Discovery Channel, you got to take this other one that nobody wants, and you got to pay for it. And I'm not going to give you this one unless you take that one. That's just how it is. They have so much power to do that.
Yeah, and of course, like with Discovery, they have, of course, you've got Discovery on YouTube TV, but you don't have Discovery Life or Discovery Family. Those are on Philo for me. Okay, put them all in one place because the programming is not the same. You're not showing me Long Lost Family on Discovery. You're showing me Long Lost Family on, I believe, Discovery Family. But you're also not showing me Untold Stories of the ER, another guilty pleasure of mine. So what they've done is they've just spread them all out so that you have to try to get all of them if you're going to watch what you want to watch. It's not fair to the rest. Cord cutting was supposed to be cord cutting.
Right. What I'd like to see,
being able to choose more.
Yeah, it should be like streaming, where I just subscribe to Netflix, and whatever Netflix has, I can watch it or not watch it. It's all one big barrel, and I'll pay for that.
What I would like to have seen YouTube done with it, I was just thinking about this right now. If YouTube TV had done this right, what they could have done was saying, we're not going to raise your rates, but if you want the Viacom CBS channels, and I guarantee you the contract won't allow it. I can guarantee you Viacom went to them and said, no, it has to be part of your tier. You can't do this as a separate package for $15.
Right, because they wouldn't get as much money. Yeah.
But I think what they're going to do, and they've said it, is it looks like they're going to start bundling things. So if you want to pay less, you can have less, but it's not going to watch this. It'll be like, but you can't have this or your local channels.
Right. Okay, so the couple other headlines I want to mention. There's Google Meet, which is Google's online video, Skype, Zoom. Used to be Hangouts, now it's called Meet. They've added a new feature for schools, for classes, education market, that will protect from Zoom bombing. And if you don't know, Zoom bombing is where anonymous people will get a hold of a open link to a Zoom meeting or any one of these online conference calls, and they'll drop in and do obnoxious, immature, profane things, and disrupting it. And they found actually that some kids were having their friends Zoom bomb their classes, so they gave out of going to class, which is typical of kids. Typical. Yes, very.
No one ever saw that coming.
Yeah. Evil genius sort of things. Well, Google has turned on a new security measure only in its Google Meet for education subscribers, which is will prevent anonymous users from being able to join a meeting, any meeting that's on an education account. So an anonymous user is someone who's not signed into a Google account. So if you've got a Google account, you're signed in, you are trackable. That's basically the thinking. Although it doesn't say whether they have to be Google education accounts, which require more verification. Like anyone can sign up for a Gmail account. So I'm not sure the verification going on behind that. But nevertheless, it's designed to be able to track IP addresses and all that sort of stuff to prevent this. I frankly would like to see them do this for everyone, not just for education. I think it's one of the things that a lot of people are concerned about. I was doing Zoom meetings with Boy Scouts for a merit badge class, and it wasn't an education account. So, I was always reminding them, do not post a link to this meeting anywhere. This is a private meeting. But so it's a nice feature.
I wonder if Google is testing it out with the education package, and then we'll roll it out wider later.
Oh, maybe.
It would be nice.
Maybe. But I'm looking at Google Meet now, versus Zoom for Faith Formation coming up in the fall. And I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with, but Zoom seems to have the better believe it or not, selection of security at the moment. But only in the English language could we, Zoom bomb on Google Meet. When you want to call it something else, like meat bombing, I don't know.
Meat bombing has a whole other connotation.
Probably.
From Omaha Steaks.
There you go.
Actually, we've used Google Meet here. We actually just used this the other day when we recorded a podcast, Father Cory and I. And it worked out pretty well. We usually use Skype for our podcast, but it worked pretty well, and I like it. The one thing that Google Meet has going for that Zoom doesn't is a lot of people are uncomfortable with Zoom's connections to the Chinese Communist government. There's been some concern.
Now, other than political, with the Google Meet, when you set up the meeting, does it give you an option for setting passwords and things like that?
Yes.
Because I know that's one of the biggest things they say is, not just share the link, but also make sure they know the password, but send the password through some other means like text or something like that.
Right. In fact, with Google Meet, you can set up the meeting and it will include the password, but it will also, if the person you're setting up with has a Google Calendar account, it will put the invite on their Google Calendar. So it's already there, and the person, when the time for the meeting comes, it shows up in their calendar, they click the join the meeting button. So it's very seamless integration. So I do like that. So last little headline I want to talk about is this little warning from Apple. And this applies here because this was related to one of my previous picks of the week. Apple is warning MacBook users to be careful of putting things over your camera, whether it's one of these third-party shutter things or even thick pieces of tape. I'm not so concerned about the thick piece of tape thing, but these shutters, they say the tolerances, because it's Apple, the tolerances for the gap between the screen and the key in the case that it lays down on are kind of tight that you could potentially crack your screen by doing it, by putting one of these shutter things on. Now, I've had a shutter on my MacBook Pro for more than 2 years. It has not been a problem, and I'm not taking it off, so I'm not really worried about that. But it's just something to keep in mind.
I could see the worry though, because you look at that gap between the keyboard and display when it's closed, and you can't get a piece of paper in there.
No, it's tight.
But the other thing I could see is, one, Johnny Ives threw a fit that somebody marred his perfect design with a shutter or a piece of tape.
Yes.
And two, Apple's really saying this because they want to watch you.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
They do say,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they do say that the way that the hardware is engineered, the camera cannot come on unless the light, that the little green light is green or red, I forget.
Green.
Green is also on. It's hardwired in, and someone would have to physically go in and cut it, which obviously they would. If they're doing that, you've got bigger problems. So, there's. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm still putting a shutter on mine.
Well, and I can understand it, and I don't know how you do it, because I also know how tight that closure is. But as one who had to have her display fixed because of the coating.
Oh yeah.
I would think if you're putting tape up there and you're taking it on and off depending on if you're going to use it, I could think you could destroy the coating on the screen.
They did say that, and residue that gets left behind and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is something
I'd
to consider.
Be careful.
Yeah. But I mean, my daughter's Chromebook has a shutter on it. I wouldn't give a computer to my kids without a shutter on it. Just a physical shutter. I just, if they really want to help us, they'll put a physical shutter on built in. That would be a really nice privacy feature.
Yeah, I'd go for that.
All right. So let's move on to our picks of the week. And Joanne, let's start with your pick of the week.
Yes, last week I attended, believe it or not, a virtual convention. This was this pick is basically for musicians in the Catholic Church or in any liturgically based church. The National Association of Pastoral Musicians was planning their annual convention in Louisville, Kentucky, and actually had to go to decide: are we not going to do it, or are we going to try to use technology? Well, we used technology. We did a virtual convention, which had, I would say, 60 to 65% pre-recorded content and 35% live, including Zoom meetings. We had Zoom meetings with the president every single day to talk about issues. People were allowed to come in Zoom to do Q&A with speakers. It was, believe it or not, a success.
Yeah.
And what they have done for folks who didn't think this was actually going to work, they're leaving the content up and available for anyone to do their own convention up until September 15th. So if you go, musicians, if you go to npm.org, you'll see it right on the front page. It's the 43rd annual convention. Click on it. You can register, pay the same price we all did. But you now can do a convention of 4 days at your own pace. You could watch way more than I could watch in 4 days because there were 2 registrations. There was the limited registration for the actual 4 days, and then a bigger registration that would go till September 15th, where you could just do the content at your leisure. I have a feeling this is going to be something that's going to be used in the future, even when we go back to in-person, because it's something I've lobbied NPM for the last 5 years, for people who can't always make it to a convention. Sure, we missed our friends. We missed, going to the bar. We missed, the all-night jam sessions and waking people up at 2 a.m. Sure, we missed all that. Somewhat. But because I was hosting people in Zoom watching the convention, and then we would talk about it amongst ourselves. So there is a lot of possibilities here coming forward. So if you're curious and you want to see it, or if you're a musician and you want to take advantage of some education during your downtime right now, because you're not all back to masses yet, look up the NPM annual convention. I think you'll find it a pleasant surprise. Another
benefit from the COVID, from one of the things that's going to be a positive, is how much the church, frankly, has taken up technology, whether it's live streaming masses or this sort of convention, and it's really kicked us in the butt to get doing this stuff that we've been some of us have been talking about doing for years.
And I'll tell you, if it hadn't happened, it would not have come. They would not have tried this, and it would not have come out as good as it did.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I remember I've been hearing like Apple did their developer conference online, sort of like this, and a lot of people saying it's better than the in-person one, and they should keep doing it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see going forward for meetings in general, and in conventions, like you said, Joanne, the convention is not just the talks. Although I hope that NPM and these other groups that do these virtual conventions, they wise up and say, we don't need to put a deadline on when this stuff's available.
Right.
Keep it available. People will buy it in December if they weren't able to watch it before. People will buy it in a couple of years,
Right.
Well, they're just trying this out right now because it was either that or lose their shirts. So they had, but they were very, I have to give credit to Amanda Bruce, Berticerto, and the committee of people who did this, because they really thought about it. I was a beta tester, so I tried to go in as, a 10-year older version of myself, not very tech savvy, to let them know you really should do this and that because people aren't going to understand this. And they included an entire page and a couple of sessions on how to navigate the convention.
Yeah, it looks really good.
People appreciate that.
Yeah, I see they have like Virtual Convention 101 with some explanation stuff. So kudos to them. Good job. They did a really good job. Father Cory, what's your pick?
So my pick, we talked about cable cutting and we complained about YouTubeTV. Well, here's an option if you're not worried about any particular broadcast channel. And of course, by broadcast channel, I mean anything cable or local or whatever. And we've talked about this service before very briefly in cable cord cutting. It's Pluto TV. Pluto.tv is the website. This actually recently was bought out by Viacom CBS, but that turns out to be a good thing. This is one case where Viacom CBS is doing a good thing because Pluto has all these different channels, and there are movie channels, there's binge watching TV channels, there's news channels, and some of them are major players in the news market. It won't be your actually CNN, I believe, is the regular broadcast of CNN is available. But others, like there's the CBS network, news network, and things like that. So there's weather, there's music. It's got like the Sirius satellite radio style music channels. So in the Binge networks, I want to recommend 2 of them, and not a shock. They're very much related to other podcasts that Tom and I are on.
Yeah.
So for a couple of months now, they have had Classic Doctor Who binge watching channel,
which means it's basically streaming live on a constant basis.
Yeah, it's like it's streaming Doctor Who, but you just turn it on, and whatever episode's watching, you can sit and watch it. It's great for just watching in the background. And this week they released Star Trek binge watching.
Nice.
Right now they just have Next Gen, but if I remember the article right that I read, eventually they will add some of the other Star Trek series, other than, of course, disclaimer, not the ones on CBS All Access. So Picard won't be on there, Discovery won't be on there, Lower Decks won't be on there, whatever else comes out. But all the other series from like Enterprise and before, will be on this channel.
Wow.
And it is great too. If you like the idea of just turning on a channel and just sitting there watching whatever's on, and if you just want to binge watch these shows, there you go. Now it is commercial supported. They do have commercials, so you have to deal with that. But again, it's
free.
Right.
That's good. Yeah, that was the thing that bugs me about CBS All Access is I'm paying you and you're still putting ads in my shows.
Yep.
Hulu does that and the others. So that's pretty good. There was those days when we were kids when you just would sit down in front of the TV, turn it on, and whatever was on was on. Like, oh, hey, my favorite episode of this show is on. That's sort of what it is. That's cool. I noticed that they have Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda running right now. I may go to that after we're done. So,
there we go.
So let me give you my pick first. And so, Father Cory, a while ago, a bunch of episodes ago, you picked the Raspberry Pi starter kit as your pick. That was a long time ago. And if you hadn't done that, that would be my pick. But so I picked one up, a Raspberry Pi, recently. But my pick is something I installed on it, which is called Homebridge. And it's an open source project that it's free. You can install on a Raspberry Pi. And what it does is basically, just to describe what I'm using it for, is it's a bridge between stuff that works with HomeKit on your Apple devices and stuff that doesn't out of the box. So, for example, one of the things that's bugged me for the longest time is I can't control my Nest thermostat from my HomeKit. I had to use Echo for that. And even that didn't work very well. So I ended up using the app. Well, now I can just say, hey, Siri, set the hallway thermostat to 72. And it's actually doing that right now.
Okay.
Okay. I changed the temperature from 72 degrees to 70 degrees.
Yes, that's what it did. I don't know if you heard that, but that's what it said.
Yep.
And so I can now control it, and it also shows up in the Home app, and I can set home and away mode, all that sort of stuff. The other thing I can connect it with is my Ring cameras. So now in the Home app, I have my Ring cameras views visible immediately as soon as I open up, which is actually better than with Echo and with the built-in Ring app. It takes much longer to get the cameras running the old way. This way they're on immediately, which is amazing. I'm kind of hoping that the developers of the plugin for Ring, because everything is supported by individual developers writing plugins, I'm hoping that they incorporate some of the iOS 14 functionality, like they do cloud storage. So you use iCloud to store your videos. So HomeKit compatible cameras will use iCloud to store your video footage instead of having to pay a third party on their servers. I'd rather not have to pay for cloud storage. I'm not sure if that'll be possible. We'll see what goes. And some of the setup can be a little tricky. Connecting the Nest involves a lot of digging around in web page code. The instructions are clear. You can follow it along. And I wouldn't say this is a beginner project. But if you are at all consider yourself geeky or techie, it's certainly doable. And this is just the first step for me for Raspberry Pi fun. We're going to have an episode or two coming up where we're going to talk about more Raspberry Pi stuff, because I suddenly want to explore the possibilities of having an inexpensive little computer.
It has a lot of them, and it's a powerful, inexpensive little computer. You can do a lot with this thing. Yeah,
I'm a little worried because it runs a little hot. I got the Raspberry Pi 4, so I may have to figure out a way to do some cooling on it. But I'm excited by it. So that's my pick. Homebridge has been I've only had it running for like 24 hours, and I'm giddy about it still, because it's just I admit I'm a little weird about smart home stuff, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. All right. So I do want to take a moment to, as we wrap things up here, to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create The Secrets of Technology. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue The Secrets of Technology and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So that's it from us. What did you think of our discussion? You can let us know by commenting on the show at sqpn.com/technology, or the SQPN Facebook page, facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, or send an email to technology@sqpn.com. And you can find links from our discussion, all the headlines and the pics and everything else on our show notes at sqpn.com. Remember to like the episodes of The Secrets of Technology on Facebook. You can retweet us on Twitter where we're at SQPN, and definitely engage with us on social media. We love to interact with you there, and so if you show up there, we'd love to have a conversation. Until next time, Father Cory Sticha, thank you for joining me for The Secrets of Technology.
Well, thank you, Dom.
And Joanne Mercier, thank you as well.
Thanks, Dom.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to The Secrets of Technology on StarQuest.